These common misconceptions about the natural world and animal behavior really highlight how much we think we know, only to discover that reality is far more complex and fascinating. Here's a breakdown of each point. Number 10. We have five senses. For years, we've been taught that humans have five senses: sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. But in reality, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Our sensory system is far more intricate, with dozens of other senses at work. Proprioception, the sense of body position; nociception, the perception of pain; and thermoception, our ability to sense temperature, are just a few examples of the many senses humans use daily. And that's not even including more mysterious ones, like our possible ability to sense magnetic fields. Understanding this makes it clear that our bodies are far more complex sensory machines than we were ever taught to believe, which can make us appreciate how finely tuned our experiences of the world really are. Number 9. Chameleons change color for camouflage. The classic image of a chameleon blending into its surroundings for camouflage is only part of the story. While they do use color changes for camouflage, the primary reason chameleons shift their hues is for communication, to signal emotions, aggression, or mating readiness. They also use for temperature regulation. So, instead of being the ultimate stealth animal, chameleons are really more like the reptile version of a mood ring, showing off a colorful display for both social and survival reasons. They're not just hiding, they're broadcasting their mood, just like us when we put on our "I'm having a good day" outfit. Number 8. Dogs. For a long time, people believed that dogs only saw in black and white, giving them a rather dull, grayscale existence. However, dogs are dichromatic, meaning they see primarily in shades of blue and yellow. This doesn't mean their world is colorless, it's just that their color spectrum is much narrower than ours. What we perceive as red, green, or other hues likely appears as muted yellows or grays to them. This difference in perception also helps explain why dogs are so good at detecting motion and navigating in low light. They're built for a different visual experience than we are. So, their world is less about missing color entirely, and more about experiencing a different color palette. Each of these misconceptions teaches us something profound about how much we often take for granted, and how nature's complexity often defies our simple assumptions. Whether it's the number of senses we possess, the true purpose of a chameleon's color change, or the way dogs see the world, it's clear that life is far more nuanced than we might imagine. These myths are incredibly prevalent, but once you break them down, it becomes clear that reality is far more complex. Here's a breakdown of each. Number 7. Ostriches. Bury their heads in the sand. The classic image of an ostrich burying its head in the sand to avoid danger is a widespread misconception. In truth, ostriches don't hide their heads. Instead, they flatten their heads and necks against the ground to blend in with their surroundings. This helps them stay inconspicuous when predators are near, especially when protecting their nests. The myth likely originated from observers misinterpreting this behavior or confusing it with the ostriches digging their nests in the sand. Ostriches are fast and powerful creatures, capable of running at incredible speeds, and their survival strategy is more about flight, in the form of speed, than hiding. Number 6. Different parts of your tongue taste different flavors. The tongue map, showing distinct areas for different tastes, sweet, salty, sour, bitter, is a myth. While it was once thought that specific regions of the tongue were responsible for particular tastes, it turns out that all taste buds can detect all 5 basic tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. The map was based on a misinterpretation of research, and now we know that all parts of the tongue work together to perceive the full range of flavors. So whether you're enjoying a sugary treat or a sour lemon, your entire tongue is involved in the experience. Number 5. Humans only use 10% of their brain. The myth that we only use 10% of our brains has been debunked many times, yet it remains pervasive. Brain scans like fMRI and PET scans show that virtually all parts of the brain are active at some point during the day. The idea that 90% of the brain is dormant is simply false. Every part of the brain has a known function, and even minor injuries to the brain can have significant effects. The persistence of this myth is likely due to our desire to believe that we have untapped potential, but in reality, your brain is already functioning at full capacity. It's not about unlocking hidden powers, but about how efficiently your brain performs everyday tasks. Number 4. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. While sugar does activate the brain's reward system, the claim that it is more addictive than cocaine is a gross exaggeration. Cocaine has a far more powerful and direct effect on the brain, causing intense euphoria, a rapid depletion of neurotransmitters, and strong withdrawal symptoms. The studies that compare sugar and cocaine usually involve rats that are deprived of sugar and then allowed to binge on it, creating a pattern of behavior that mimics addiction. However, when given a choice between sugar and cocaine, rats generally prefer cocaine. Sugar may be habit-forming due to its widespread presence in our diets, but it's not comparable to the addictive qualities of hard drugs. The real issue with sugar lies in its behavioral impact and how it's intertwined with emotional comfort and the food industry, not in any kind of biological addiction akin to drugs. These examples remind us of how easy it is to accept oversimplified explanations that resonate with our experiences, but are ultimately false. Once we understand the full picture, we can approach these common beliefs with more accurate knowledge and a better understanding of how the world really works. These misconceptions highlight the way simple ideas, often widely accepted, can paint an incomplete or inaccurate picture of how the world works. Here's a breakdown of each. Number 3. We are all either left-brained or right-brained. The left brain versus right brain theory is a classic example of how we love to categorize ourselves in neat little boxes. The myth suggests that creative people are right-brained and logical, analytical thinkers are left-brained. However, this idea is grossly oversimplified. While certain functions like language processing and spatial awareness are more dominant in one hemisphere, both sides of the brain are involved in virtually all tasks, and there is no single dominant side that dictates personality or behavior. Brain activity is a complex, integrated process where both hemispheres work together, debunking the myth that we are strictly left or right-brained. In reality, your brain is much more like an open-plan office, with everyone collaborating across departments. Number 2. Sharks can't get cancer. The idea that sharks are immune to cancer has been circulating for years, especially among those hoping to find a miracle cure for the disease. But the truth is, sharks can and do get cancer. While cancer might seem rare in some shark species, it doesn't mean they are immune. The myth likely started due to early, flawed research, combined with a desire to sell shark cartilage as a cure. In fact, studies have shown that sharks, like other animals, can develop tumors. This misconception has even contributed to the dangerous overhunting of sharks, further threatening their populations. Sharks may be incredible creatures, but they're not the magical, tumor-free beings that some marketing campaigns claim them to be. Number 1. Humans only use 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. The reduce, reuse, recycle mantra is deeply ingrained in our environmental consciousness, but it doesn't encompass the full range of actions needed for true sustainability. Experts often promote additional R's such as refuse, rethink, repair, rot, composting, and redistribute. Refusing to use single-use plastics, rethinking how we design products, repairing rather than discarding, composting organic waste, and redistributing surplus goods are all powerful actions that go beyond just recycling. Recycling is often the least effective method because it still requires energy and resources. The true key to reducing environmental impact lies upstream, preventing waste and reconsidering our consumption patterns before it even reaches the recycling bin. Each of these myths shows how easy it is to fall into oversimplified ideas, or ideas that don't fully represent the complexity of the world around us. Understanding the more nuanced truth behind these concepts helps us approach problems, from environmental sustainability to brain function, with a more informed perspective.